So, let's get right into it. We're going to dive into a really fascinating story, and it's all about a strange paradox in healthcare. We're heading to the Kurdistan region of Iraq. Now picture this. You've got hospitals with skilled doctors, modern equipment, everything you'd think they need. And yet, they were facing this huge problem. Their patients were just leaving. This is a story about trust. It's about data. And it's about how a little bit of human ingenuity can solve a really, really personal challenge.
I mean, it's a baffling question, right? Just think about it. You've got a hospital with everything it needs for top-notch care, but the waiting rooms, they're getting quieter. Why? Because patients are literally packing their bags and traveling hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles away to Turkey, Iran, even Europe, for treatments they could get right there at home. So what on earth was going on? That's the big mystery we're going to unravel today.
And this right here, this quote from a patient we'll call Sarah, it just gets straight to the heart of the whole problem. She says, "I trusted the doctor, but the hospital didn't make me feel safe." You see, her issue wasn't with the medicine, not at all. It was the whole experience. It just felt disorganized, no one was explaining things clearly, and that led to this total breakdown of trust. And notice, it wasn't a trust issue with her doctor, but with the entire system.
And it turns out, Sarah's story was far from unique. As researchers started talking to more and more patients, they heard the same things over and over again. 4 big themes kept popping up. First, this deep lack of trust in the local hospitals. Second, this feeling that foreign hospitals just seemed more professional, they marketed themselves better. Third, really ineffective communication. And fourth, this sense that local hospitals were just stuck. They weren't trying anything new. A lot of people even admitted they didn't go abroad for better medicine, but for more organized medicine. That's a huge clue right there.
So, here's the big twist. The crucial insight. The problem wasn't a failure of medicine at all. It was a failure to build trust and to communicate value. The hospitals had all the right ingredients, the medical expertise was there, but they were completely failing to show people what they were capable of. It was a perception problem, a communication problem.
All right, so to crack this case, the researchers needed to put on their detective hats. They needed a toolkit, a framework to help them investigate all the clues. They had to figure out the hidden connections between what a hospital knows, what it can do with that knowledge, and ultimately, the kind of experience it creates for its patients. And this is it. This is basically the roadmap they used to find the truth. The researchers had a hunch, a hypothesis, that there was a powerful link between 3 key things: the data a hospital has, its ability to actually use that data, and the cool, new, innovative services that should come from it. So let's break each of those pieces down.
Okay, clue number 1, the marketing database. Now, don't let the name fool you. This is way more than just a list of names and addresses. It's literally everything a hospital knows, or at least could know. We're talking patient feedback, what services are popular, what the big health trends are in the area, even keeping an eye on what other hospitals are up to. It's the raw intelligence, the starting point for everything.
But here's the thing, right? Data all by itself, it's just a pile of facts. It doesn't do anything. That brings us to our second clue, which is kind of the hidden link in this whole mystery, what the researchers call marketing capabilities. Think of this as the engine. It's what takes all that raw data and actually turns it into action. It's the hospital's culture, its strategy, its day-to-day operations. It's not just about having data, it's about knowing what to do with it.
And that's what leads us to the big payoff, the whole goal of this thing. Marketing innovation. This is what you get when it all works. When a hospital takes its data, runs it through that engine of its capabilities, bam, you get real, tangible improvements for patients. You start seeing new and better ways of doing everything, from designing services to pricing them to how they're delivered.
Okay, but innovation is one of those buzzwords that can mean anything, right? So let's get really specific. What does innovation actually look like in a hospital? To do that, we're going to use the classic 4 Ps framework from the world of marketing.
So, these are the 4 pillars they looked at: product, price, promotion, and place. If a hospital can innovate in these 4 areas, it can completely change the game for its patients.
First up, product. And when we say product innovation, we're not just talking about a new pill or something small. We're talking about developing brand new services based on what the data says the community actually needs. Like, a perfect example would be opening a brand new top-of-the-line cardiac unit because you see a rise in heart disease in your area.
Next, you've got price innovation. And this one is so critical for building that trust we talked about. Instead of those confusing itemized bills that nobody understands, imagine a hospital offering clear all-in-one service packages, or maybe flexible payment plans. It just makes quality care feel more accessible and takes away a ton of that financial stress for patients.
Then there's promotion. This is all about how you communicate.
It could be something like a patient loyalty program that gives you a discount for getting your annual checkup. Or it could be using social media to share patient success stories and useful health tips. The point is, it's about building an actual relationship, not just blasting out ads.
And last but not least, place innovation. In a nutshell, this just means making healthcare easier to get to. And a perfect modern example is telemedicine. Think about it. Suddenly someone living way out in a rural area can have a consultation with a top specialist without spending a whole day traveling. It completely changes where and how healthcare happens.
All right, so let's recap our detective work. We've got our clues, we have the data, we have the capabilities needed to use it, and we have these 4 different ways a hospital can innovate. Now, for the breakthrough. This is the moment where all the dots connect and we finally solve the mystery of the disappearing patients.
Just look at the contrast here. It's like night and day. On the one hand, you've got a hospital that's sitting on a mountain of data but has no real capability to use it. It collects patient feedback forms, but they just sit in a box. They have amazing surgical outcomes, but they never share those stories. It's all just potential. But on the other hand, you have a hospital that combines that same data with strong capabilities. It takes that feedback and uses it to design brand new, patient-friendly services. It promotes its successes to build confidence in the community. The difference is absolutely massive.
And this, right here, is the absolute key. This is the big aha moment from the research. They proved it with numbers. Yes, having a good database helps with innovation. But that effect becomes exponentially stronger when you have those marketing capabilities in place, that culture, that strategy. The analogy is perfect. Data is the fuel, but capabilities, that's the engine. You're going to have a full tank of gas, but without an engine, you are going absolutely nowhere.
So there you have it. Case closed. The reason patients were leaving wasn't because of bad doctors. It was because of a huge gap between the information the hospitals had and their ability to act on it. So let's look at the final verdict here and the much bigger lesson this teaches all of us.
The great thing is, the study doesn't just identify the problem, it gives us a clear 3-step plan to fix it and rebuild that trust. Step 1, you've got to get your data in order. Implement modern electronic health systems to build that strong foundation. Step 2, use technology to open up the lines of communication between doctors and patients. And step 3, and this is the most important part, you have to invest in your capabilities. That means the people, the processes, and the culture that can take all that data and turn it into real action that helps patients. But, as we zoom out from this, it becomes really clear that this isn't just a story about some hospitals in Kurdistan. Not at all. The lessons here are way bigger than that.
What this really is a universal blueprint for pretty much any organization in any industry that wants to serve its customers or its community better. The path is always the same. You gather information, you build the capability to actually understand and use that information, and then you use that intelligence to innovate in ways that create rock-solid, unshakable trust.
And that really brings us to the final thought, and it's a question I want to leave you with. Think about your own world, your job, your community, whatever it is. Where do you see those trust gaps? And more importantly, how could getting the right information and then building the capability to use it help you start to bridge those gaps?